Well, I ended the last video promising a WrestleMania prediction show, and, well, here we are. Now, I have the matches written down here, and outside of the first two, which are both going to be on the pre-show or free-for-all or whatever that is they call it, I'm not entirely sure if this is how these matches are necessarily going to happen. Well, as in when in the show they're going to start. This is just my idea of how it might play out. Again, in terms of the match lineup. Okay. And trust me, you'll understand why a little bit. Okay, so obviously we're going to start with our pre-show matches. There's two this time. The first one is the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match for the WWE Tag Team titles between the Usos, the champions, the Brass Ring Club, or Tyson Kidd and Cesaro. I guess they haven't been officially named yet. Los Matadores and the New Day, namely Big E and Kofi Kingston. This one, I mean, it's really going to come down to either the Usos or Kidd and Cesaro. And I'm going to go with Kidd and Cesaro retaining the titles here. It just doesn't quite seem like it's time to take the titles off of them yet. And when they do, they'll probably drop it back to the Usos. So, okay, our next match is the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. We're going to have 30 superstars in the ring trying to win this thing. And I'm not going to pick a particular winner. I'm just going to go over some of the more likely candidates. First off, I'm going to be saying Ryback. Last year you got Cesaro, a heel win. Ryback's been talking a lot about he wants to win it this year. He's a babyface. It would make sense for a babyface to win it this year. Likewise, The Miz has been talking a lot about winning it, so it wouldn't be too surprising if The Miz wound up winning it. And, of course, if you're talking The Miz, you have to talk Mizdow winning it, possibly, because that would help facilitate the breakup of that tag team. I have The Big Show, just because it seems like, of the Authority, he would be the most likely to win it. And my dark horse candidate is Curtis Axel, as the whole Axelmania thing seems to slowly be catching on. So, who knows, maybe he surprises some people and actually wins it. Alright, now the next match, like I said, after this point, the match listing is completely my idea of how it might play out. I don't necessarily know how the match lineup is going to be, so just be forewarned. And so our next match after that is Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins. Like I said, not entirely sure when this will take place. This could take place later in the show. This might not lead off WrestleMania, but it seems like a bit of a likely candidate if what I think might happen will happen. And we'll touch on that later. Anyway, with this match, I kind of see, Orton and Rollins being pretty even long way. Maybe Orton starts to get the upper hand. J&J Security or someone else from the Authority will interfere, and Rollins will probably win. Either that or Orton will win by DQ. And which brings us to our next match, which is the 7-man match for the ladder match for the Intercontinental title. I forgot to say that, the ladder match. Between Bad News Barrett, R-Truth, Daniel Bryan, Luke Harper, Dean Ambrose, Stardust, and Dolph Ziggler. Right now it does seem like the main momentum's probably behind Daniel Bryan or maybe Dean Ambrose, again carrying over from the Fastlane pay-per-view. Wouldn't be entirely surprised if Ambrose won, especially if the rumored return of Sheamus happens and he takes out Daniel Bryan, like a lot of people seem to think is going to happen. But I wouldn't actually be surprised. I'm actually thinking that Daniel Bryan's going to win the Intercontinental title, and we might have a Daniel Bryan heel turn. It seems to be planted in. Remember a couple weeks ago where both Ambrose and Ziggler referred to Bryan as a turd. Almost as bad as the time John Cena sprayed poopy on JBL's car. Anyway, the next match I have after that is the Undertaker versus Bray Wyatt match. And in this one, it's tough because probably you don't want Taker losing 2 WrestleMania matches in a row. He lost the streak last year. That was such a big deal. To have him lose again, it just doesn't feel right. But at the same time, if you do want to maybe, I hesitate to use the term, turn Bray Wyatt into the next Undertaker, it's entirely possible that he could win. And so what I think might happen is Undertaker will win but it'll probably be by some form of disqualification or count out or something like that, in a manner that Bray Wyatt doesn't look entirely weak, but The Undertaker can at least end his run on a win. Excuse me. And then after that, we have the United States Championship match, Rusev versus John Cena. This one seems pretty obvious. Cena's probably just going to go over Rusev. I don't really see too much in the way of disqualification happening. I think he either pins or gets him to submit to the STF, whichever happens. And Cena will probably be the new U.S. champion. And after that, we have the match between Sting and Triple H. I see Sting really putting up a good fight in this one, but in the long run, there's probably going to be some outside interference. Triple H will win. Okay, this brings us to the Divas Tag Team matchup of AJ Lee and Paige versus the Bella Twins. And, well, if the title were somehow on the line in this for like a fatal four-way or something, I could maybe see the Bellas losing. The Bellas are a big heel team. You probably want to put the baby faces over in WrestleMania a little bit more, but right now I just don't see them putting the Bellas down. I'm going with the Bellas to win, in other words. And that brings us to the big main event. Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And this was kind of tough because, you know, I was honestly thinking Roman Reigns was probably going to win. But with Lesnar re-signing on Monday, that might have changed things a little bit. I would not be surprised. In fact, I'm pretty much predicting that Brock Lesnar will retain the title in what will probably be a physically grueling match. He'll be pushed to his limits. And that's where the twist comes in. Because remember when I was talking about the Orton-Rollins match being so early? If it's the early one, I almost guarantee that Rollins is going to cash in the Money in the Bank. And the reason why, that's why I had the Orton-Rollins match going so early, because I think you would want Rollins to at least look a little rested after a match. You wouldn't want him popping in, you know, with only a 20-minute break. Like I said, Rollins will cash in the Money in the Bank. Heyman will turn on Lesnar, and Rollins will walk out with the the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And that's probably it. I mean, I'm not going to predict the musical concerts. I don't really care. Like a lot of you probably don't really care. And, well, I'm actually going to be at home on Sunday, so I'll be able to watch WrestleMania live. I won't have to stay up until, well, I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to do my job, but when I come back, I won't have to stay up to watch it. So, we'll see how it all turns out. See you on the recap show.